You are eager to move and feel like an athlete again, but you're afraid to because you've been given misinformation, outdated recommendations, flat out lies, all the things that we like to call the nope.
In this series, we will debunk the nope, transform it into hope, allowing you to reclaim your birthright of healthy and athletic.
Don't forget to subscribe and share so that you and your friends are not missing out on any of this content. We want you to become a lifelong athlete. Let's get to it. Brandy, what is today's nope?
Today's nope is that flexing your spine is dangerous.
We are going to replace that nope with hope and show you why you can actually flex your spine. It's not dangerous. Where does that even come from? And we're going to show you research showing that it's actually unavoidable to not allow your spine to flex. So we might as well train it if it's going to happen anyway. First way that we like to get the spine moving into flexion, it's a light movement. It's showing our brain that this is possible. And if you have been guarding your back and not allowing it to flex, this one is going to be difficult. It takes a lot of motor control, a lot of brain power to send these messages to the spine. But we're going to go, you've probably seen the classic cat camel. We're just going to focus on the cat part, the rounding, and we're not going to round the T-spine. A lot of people will show us this big T-spine rounding. That's great. Let's get this part moving and rounding as well. So Brandy's just going to focus on the lower lumbar spine, focusing on coming in and flexing down on that spine. Why is flexing the spine dangerous? Where does this come from? It actually comes from some outdated research on cadaver models. A cadaver is a person that has generously donated their body to science once they've passed and research is done on it. And then the cadaver studies that then is extrapolated to human living studies. But there's a bit of a difference between the living and the spine that has been donated. The living spine is resilient, it's adaptable. But what ended up happening is researchers took the spine, they put it through a bunch of flexion cycles, and they found after cycles of flexion that the disc herniated. So then we all got scared to not allow our backs to round, that flexing the spine is dangerous. And we're going to continue with that, but let's show you our next exercise. Brandy's now going to take that same movement, the same principle, and move into a half kneeling position. One leg out in front, other leg behind. She's got a light weight in front of her just to load it a little bit more. She's going to focus on rounding that spine and now just reaching the weight down. It's a small range of motion. It's a small amount of weight. We're just going up against gravity now and going into flexion as she reaches that weight down there. So what does the newer research show? It shows that rounding your spine is unavoidable. That even when people think that they are keeping their spine in a neutral position or an extended position or a lordotic position, that they're not able to. The spine still flexes. We should not fear spine flexion. And oh yeah, back to that disc argument that if you flex your spine, your disc is going to shoot out the back. Well, newer research shows that when people are doing spinal flexion, that some areas of the disc actually move anterior versus posterior, meaning that if you do have a directional preference, if you do have symptoms going down the leg, you have to move your spine in a way that feels good and makes you feel better versus being afraid of this thing because it could cause it. We see athletes all the time that keep their back in this arched position because they're so afraid of a herniated disc. Know that you do not have to be afraid of it. Let's train it. Let's become adaptable to it. Next progression, we're gonna have Brandy stand up. We're taking that same principle. Let's keep rounding the spine. Again, a light load that we're using initially to use graded exposure, create safety with the movement is a Jefferson curl. So she's gonna use that lumbar flexion movement. She's flexing the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down, keeping the legs pretty straight, reaching that weight down there, coming back up. Again, it's a light load and it's a slow speed movement. We don't want this one to be powerful. We don't want it to be done with speed. We want control. We want to be saying, hey, I can flex my spine and it's not gonna hurt me. I can do it with weight. I can do it for reps. I can do it for volume, and I'm good with it. From this, we then move into some of our bigger lifts for our lifelong athletes, whether it's a deadlift, a squat, whatever it may be, and work on keeping that neutral spine, knowing that if it flexes a little bit when you start to get these higher percentages, that it's normal, and don't fear it. More of the pain response comes from the fear than the actual rounding of the spine.
And our hope is that this replaces the fear and the nope that you face with rounding your back with hope. We are here to empower you to get out of the nope, replace it with hope, and help you to reclaim your birthright of healthy and athletic.
In this video, we busted some myths, updated your education, showed you some of our favorite movements, external loading, but at best, that's only half the equation. The other half is internal load, how we adapt to it. We don't just specialize in movement, but how we actually adapt to it to become lifelong athletes.
We can't wait to coach you if you're interested, so head over to hopenotnope.org and we'll see you there.